All right, guys, so we are now post-op weeks 5 and 6 from our ACL recovery, and this is a major turning point in your rehab. If you've been following along, we should have hit some milestones already. Full knee extension, at least 90 degrees of flexion, solid quad activation. But now, this is where we really start pushing your recovery forward. We'll introduce blood flow restriction, review how to maintain full knee extension and then knee flexion or knee bending. We'll discuss gait mechanics, how to control and adjust for swelling, and then some major mistakes to avoid. At the end, we'll review a full weeks 5 and 6 recovery checklist. Your quad is still weak. Even if it feels like it's working, the reality is it's really not working at its absolute maximum. And a weak quad means instability, slower recovery, and a higher risk of re-injury. So here's some things that you can do right now to progress your quadriceps strength. An awesome new tool is called blood flow restriction, or BFR. BFR is kind of the ultimate hack for building muscle without having to use a heavy load. The way it works is we cut off the blood flow to a muscle or an area, and that prevents oxygen from getting to that muscle, which causes a metabolic stress that's very similar to when we train with really heavy intensities or high loads. Evidence shows that we can actually make the same gains with only 30% of our maximum weight as we would make if we were using 80% of our maximum weight. It essentially allows you to work out, get stronger, and get bigger without having to use heavy weight. From there, we have our straight leg raises, but specifically without a quadriceps lag, which means our lower leg shouldn't lag behind, and we should be able to maintain a full straight leg the entire time. If we're able to do that and we don't have any bend in our knee when we're doing it, then we can add some ankle weight and make it more challenging. From there, we can progress our long arc quads or seated knee extensions to adding a little bit of weight, like an ankle weight or even a little resistance from the machine. We just want to be really cautious when your knee is super straight, just because it can cause a little bit of tension on your ACL graft. But in reality, we actually have a lot of tension on the graft when we're just walking. So if you're already walking, it's safe to do seated knee extension with light weight and then gradually progress the weight that you're using. The thing that would be an issue is if we jump to using heavy weight and we haven't done this in a long time. We can also begin doing little tiny mini squats where both legs are on the ground and we're only going about 30 degrees down. Maybe we take a couch cushion and we put it on top of another couch cushion and we just do little mini squats without leaning away from the surgical side. Finally, we can begin stair training, whether that's going up or down stairs, and we want to try to do that without using the railing. I promise you it's going to be a little more challenging going downstairs than going upstairs, because when we go downstairs, we're really relying on our quadriceps muscle for that control. But when we go upstairs, we have our glutes and we have some other muscles that can help out with that motion. What we don't want to do is progress too quickly and jump to using weights that we haven't used in a long time. Start with a very easy weight and gradually build the amount of reps that you can do and then increase the weight. And then when you increase the weight, you can sometimes drop the reps back down as well, since you've increased the weight, and then build back up as well. This will make sure that we're doing a gradual increase in the weight that we're using and we're not progressing too quickly. By now, you should be able to get your knee fully straight and maybe even a little bit hyperextended if you have some hyperextension on the other side. However, flexion or bending our knee is likely still lagging behind, and that's okay. Ideally, right now, we want to be working from a little bit of hyperextension all the way through about 110 degrees of knee bend. We're able to progress further than 110 degrees. We just want to be a little past 90 and on our way to about 135 degrees of knee bend. The reason this matters is because when you lack full flexion or knee bending, simple things like walking down the stairs or squatting down to a chair or the toilet become pretty difficult. On the other end, when we lack full knee extension or knee straightening, we start walking with a limp or a bent knee, which then causes more issues down the road like osteoarthritis, and it can also make running much more difficult in the short term when we start doing some more functional tasks again. So how do we fix this? Doing high repetitions where we're doing multiple reps where we get all the way to the end range, maybe right to the point where we start to get a little discomfort, but we don't push through any pain. We're just getting right to that end range and then we come off of it. And we're doing that for multiple periods of time throughout the day. The key is not trying to push through any significant pain or avoid stretching entirely because it's uncomfortable, because it should be a little bit uncomfortable. That's okay, just not super painful. We also don't want to get too aggressive with things either. Getting too aggressive can backfire with reactive swelling and a little bit more pain than what we need. Just because your knee looks less swollen doesn't mean the inflammation is gone. Lingering low-grade swelling can silently block your knee progress. This is because swelling inhibits your quad, essentially telling your body to turn those muscles off, and it also prevents us from being able to hit full range of motion. So how do we manage it? Don't push yourself too far past what you've done previously. Gradually increase the intensity of the exercises over time. Compression sleeves can help, especially if you're going to be spending a lot of time in the same position. And then gentle movement like passive range of motion or active range of motion can all be helpful as well. Don't rely only on ice. So are you ready to walk without crutches? If you feel like your walking is anything but normal, you need to continue using the crutches, and that is completely okay. And when we do stop using crutches, it's really important that we continue reinforcing how to walk properly, with one of the key things being that full knee extension when you go to heel strike. Additionally, when we go to swing that leg back through, it's important that we're actually flexing our knee and bending it as we go to take a step forward, and we're not swinging our leg outward and avoiding that bend. Finally, you definitely want to ask your therapist what they see, because things that you may not see may be very evident to them, so it's important that we ask what we should be working on whenever we go to therapy. All right, so here is your week 5 and 6 ACL recovery checklist. Hit full knee extension or a little bit of hyperextension and work towards full flexion. Advance your quadricep strength using things like blood flow restriction or a little bit of resistance with our exercises. Continue to control swelling with compression and consistent movement. Use your brace for stability, but begin to wean away from using some assistive devices if we're able to. And stay on top of your therapy and ask your therapist if they see anything that you should work on as well. Lock these in and you'll set yourself up for a great next couple of weeks where we're going to start advancing the strengthening and working on some more dynamic functional movements. So now I want to hear from you. What's been the hardest part of your ACL recovery up to this point? Leave a comment below and let us know. But that sums it up for this week. As always, thanks for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe if you don't want to miss anything, and I will see you next week.